Hey up everybody, Betty's back. Right, today I'm doing some creamy garlic pork with cabbage and some small cubed roast potatoes as a little side dish. So I'll show you the ingredients and we'll get cracking. Right, okay, so I have here some pork loin steaks which I'm just going to cube up. That's a pack of 8. I'm not going to use all that. I'll probably, because it's only for us two, probably use about 4 of those just to, I think 8 would be too much. Right, you need about, what have I got there, 5 cloves of garlic, 5 or 6 cloves of garlic, it's entirely up to you. You want about 800 grams of green cabbage. Use whatever cabbage you like, Savoy, this is a sweetheart, but you can use any one you want, so I'm using the sweetheart. Right, you're going to need about 540 mils of chicken stock, which you will use in stages. You're going to need some, let's have a look, where are we? Half a teaspoon of garlic granules, 1/4 teaspoon of onion granules. You want about 150 grams of cream cheese. You're going to need some salt and pepper, which is there. Some freshly chopped parsley, which is there. And some veg oil for frying. The palmiers, no, they're not palmiers, they're just small cubed potatoes, which I'm going to parboil and then fry in some beef dripping in the air fryer, just as a little side dish. So that's the ingredients. Let's get cracking. Right, so the first thing I've done is put my potatoes into a pan, the cold water. You bring them up to the boil, and once they hit the boil, that's it. You will then just drain them and set them aside. So we'll crack on with the rest. Okay, so I'm going to prep me cabbage now. I'm just going to keep that as it is. I'm just going to finely slice this. You want about 800 grams worth. I think I'm just going to do as much of this as I can, to be fair. Just keep chopping that up. As fine or as thick as you want, but I think fine helps it cook a little bit better. Right, so I'll crack on with that and I'll come back when it's done and move on to the next bit. Right, so my potatoes have come to the boil. I've turned them off and I'm just drain them and let them steam away, ready for later on. Right, next thing is to just simply cut these garlic cloves in half, like so. You will see why later on. Simply in half, that's all you have to do. You don't have to chop them, just in half as they are. Right, so that's that done. That is my cabbage all chopped up nicely. So that's that done. And we're just gonna, oh, there's an extra clove there. That must have been on top of the, so it's actually 6 cloves of garlic. Right, so I'm just going to have a little handful of parsley. And we're just going to chop that up. That will be used as a garnish at the end. But I'm doing this now, so everything's prepped and ready. Doesn't have to be mega fine, just chopped up. There we go. That's that done. Just set that aside for 1 second. And the next thing we have to do is just to chop our pork chops up. Like I say, I'm only going to use 4. And the pretty thin steaks, these. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So cube cube. If you want to remove the fat, you can do. I'm not going to. If you want to make it ultra healthy, I think basically fat is flavour, so just for what little fat there is there, I'm just going to keep it on. If you don't like the fat, obviously chop it up, take it off and remove it. So you want decent-ish chunks of pork, like so. Just keep chopping them up into strips. So you've got chunks of pork like so. Right, I'll finish those off and we'll crack on with the next bit. So I've got about a tablespoon of veg oil in there. You can use spray oil if you want, but I'm using veg oil. Get that on a medium high-ish heat, and we're going to go in with our pork. If you haven't got a big enough pan, you can do it in batches. This is a nice big pan, so I can do this all at once. Just make sure they're all separated, and what we're looking for is just to lightly brown these up. Probably take about 4 or 5 minutes, something like that. Make sure they're all separated, obviously. And just keep moving them around. It's wanting to stick a little bit on there for some reason, I don't know why. But I'll come back when these are done. Right, so these have had a few minutes now. As you can see, they're just starting to get a nice little bit of colour on some of them. So I'm just going to turn the heat right down on that and remove these from the pan and set aside. Okay, so I've removed that from the pan. I'm just going to add a little touch more oil to this pan on a medium heat now. I'm going to go in with our garlic cloves. Remember that I sliced in half. And we're just going to dump those into there. Now you're going to have to keep your eye on these and keep them moving about, because you want them to go a nice golden colour, but you obviously don't want them to burn, because the garlic will go very bitter otherwise. So this is one bit you've got to keep your eye on the pan. And just keep moving them about basically. So I'll come back when these are browned off. So the garlic is just starting to brown up nicely now. As you can see, you don't want to burn it. So using our chicken stock, about 180 mils of it, but you've got to add it a little bit at a time. So I'm just going to add a little bit just to prevent this from burning completely. And all we're doing is just gradually adding this stock, all the gubbins off the bottom as well. This is on a low heat now. We're going to keep reducing this and adding about 180 mils of the stock. Keep reducing it down, just to soften this garlic up a little bit without it burning. So once that has reduced down, which will take 2 or 3 minutes I reckon, you just add more until you've used up your 180 mils of stock. So I'll come back when we're at that stage. That's the second lot of stock I've just dribbled into there. This is the bit you've got to really take care with, because you do not want this garlic to burn obviously, but you just keep reducing this down. I just want to emphasize that you need to keep your eye on it. You can't just let it sizzle down. Just give it some love. Probably the hardest bit of the recipe is this bit. It's just basically taking care of it. But you've got to reduce it, keep reducing it right down and keep adding, like you would with a risotto or something like that. So like I said, I'll come back when it's done. Right, so that's at its last bit and it's reduced down nicely. Yes, that looks very dark, but the pan that's more of the from the bottom of the pan rather than the burnt. They're not burnt. You're just looking for them to be softened, which those are softened up nicely now. So the next thing we're going to put in is our cabbage. So This is the shredded cabbage is going to go in there now. Just going to spread this around. Quite a bit of cabbage there, but like I said, it does wilt down. As you know, it will wilt down. So that's the cabbage in. Let's give that a bit of a smush around. Pick up some of that. No, escapee there. Right, next to go in is the onion powder and the garlic powder. So I'm just going to eyeball this. It's about half a teaspoon, I think he said. And a quarter teaspoon. That'll do nicely. Give that a smush around as well. Make sure everything's in there. Get in. Right. Next thing to go in is the remainder of our stock, which is about 360 mils. Used about 180 mils of the stock to reduce down the garlic. So that is our stock into there. Like I said, just give it a little bit of a smush around. It might not seem like a lot of liquid. If it needs some more, I'll add some more, but that's what the recipe calls for. That's what I'm going to add. Right, next thing, salt and pepper, I think. No, lid on, medium heat, 12 to 15 minutes. Seasonings later, apparently. So up to a medium. Make sure that'll steam away nicely. That's the lid on, and I'm going to cook that for 15 minutes. So it's time to crack on with the potatoes. So like I said, I'm going to use the air fryer to do my potatoes. So I've put a little bit of beef dripping in the bottom there, which will help obviously crisp them up. So I'm just going to put that on. The beauty of this bottom bit is it cooks from above and below as well. So I'm going to go to number 2 air fryer. I'm just going to warm this dripping up for a couple of minutes, and then we'll put our potatoes in. Right, so that is our dripping all melted. So I'm going to add my potatoes. You can hear that little bit of a sizzle there already. And I'm just going to give them just a little bit of a shake about. Just to make sure that they're all coated. You want to try and make it so it's an even layer, whatever you want to pronounce it. And I'm just going to put a little bit of salt and pepper on, just to give it a little bit of something. There's the pepper. A little bit of salt. Right, so we're going to go, hold on, let me adjust this camera a little bit. That's going to go air fry 195 for 15 minutes, and we will keep giving that a shake periodically, and we'll see how we are at the end of the 15 minutes. Right, so that's had its 15 minutes. It's lovely and soft, and most of the liquid has evaporated away there. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add a little splash of water into there, because the next bit we need to add the cream cheese, and you don't want it to be too claggy. So about 150 grams, which is about 3/4 of this, I would say. This is a 200 gram packet, so I'm going to put that into the pan. There we go. I would say that is about right. Right, so we're going to work that. This is on a low heat now. So we're just going to work this cream cheese into here, and I'll see what the liquid status is like. Because obviously you need a little bit. There is quite a little bit there, so you're just trying to move this around basically and make sure everything's coated with this cream cheese mixture. Lovely. That's looking good. Right, so I'm going to add the pork back into there at this stage. Any juices into there as well. That is now going in back into the pan. So what I'm going to do is, I think that needs just a slight little bit more liquid in there, because I'm going to pop the lid back on and just let that warm through for 3 or 4 minutes. Just let that warm through. Right, so the potatoes have had their was it 10 or 15 minutes in there? 10 minutes at 195. They are cooked, but they're not quite golden enough for my liking. So I'm going to re-put them in, air fry again. That's it. I'm going to put the temp up just a little bit to 205, and I'm going to cook them for another 5 minutes. Obviously keeping my eye on them, but I've kept stirring them up anyway. So right, I'll come back in a second. So that is now done. So I'm just going to season up now. A little bit of salt. And obviously some pepper. Season to taste as always. We like pepper, so I'm putting plenty in. So that is now just going to get a stir about. The sauce is thickened up nicely. It's lovely and creamy. Everything has come together beautifully. Just making sure there's no big lumps of pepper about, just making sure it's all spread about. That is banging. So we're just awaiting our potatoes now. I'll be back in a second. Wow, look at them beauties. Crisp little golden nuggets of potato. Wow. So I'm going to put that there. The last thing to do is just to sprinkle some parsley on top of here, and that is the dish done. So that is my creamy garlic pork with cabbage and my little mini golden roast potatoes. So it's triple tea time. Right, so as this is our tea for tonight, I'm just going to have a little taster of these now, and this will be slowly reheated up later on this evening. So I'm going to try some of this and dig right in. Some of the pork, cabbage. Let's get digging in. It looks hot. It probably is going to be hot. Sorry, that was a big piece of pork. The cabbage is perfectly cooked. The pork is lovely. That's still juicy. And the seasoning is just to perfection. Peppery, how I like it, how we both like it. That is so good. Really, really good. I'm just going to try One of these little golden nuggets. Could maybe do with a little bit more seasoning on that, but we'll do that later. Perfectly cooked, lovely and crispy on the outside, and soft and pillowy in the middle. Perfection. Lovely. So that's another nice, simple, easy dish for you to do if you want to try it. If you like it, give it the thumbs up. Also, if you wouldn't mind, you can press the hype button. I'd like to thank you all for all your lovely comments, all your lovely recipe ideas. Keep them all coming as usual. It's a pleasure to do them for you. So I will leave that one there for now, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye for now.